Hey, welcome back to another scripting tutorial. So today we are going to be focusing on the animations for our lightsaber. We're going to be using the animation editor and then scripting in the animations. So we're going to be making 2 attacks. And if you're new to this channel, then you should know that if you head over to our group, you can find the game here. And if you click on the 3 dots in the upper right corner, you click edit and you'll get access to the project that we are working on.
Alright, so today we are going to be adding animations to our lightsaber. So if we just take a quick look at what we did last week by coming up into our test tab and clicking play. If you remember, we made a lightsaber that simply just creates the beam and you can walk around with it. Nothing too fancy, right? So today we're going to be adding like the attack animation, and we're also going to be scripting it. So in order to do that, we're going to come up to our plugins tab. We're going to have to insert a rig. So click this build rig button and this menu will pop up. And so you want to make sure if you're making an R15 animation, you click on the R15 button. If you're making an R6 animation, you're going to click on the R6 button. So R15 is just, the type of avatar. The old Roblox avatar that was kind of stiff arm, stiff leg was the R6 one, where the new one is R15 with it has 15 body parts, is why it's called R15. The old one only has 6. Also, there's many options in here. You can just create a standard block, which would look pretty similar to the dummy I have on my screen here. Mesh is a bit more beautiful. Man uses the ROBLOX man body, and then there's also the R throw here. Today we're just going to be using the block rig. And you can move it around, doesn't really matter all that much. But now that we have that rig inserted, we're going to come to our animation editor, and it's going to open up this menu. It might not open in this spot for you, but it might pop up like this or something, right? But you can just resize it however you want. If you drag it around, you can move it to certain parts of your screen, and it will, when the blue box highlights, if you let go of your mouse, it will like snap into that spot. So that's why it's at the bottom of my screen here. And you can see it says it wants us to select a rig to animate. So we're going to click on the dummy that we just added, and we're going to name our animation. So we're going to just name this attack. Then we're going to click create. So if you look over here at this dummy, the one we were using last week, so this is the position of our arm when we're just holding the lightsaber. We're going to want to replicate that because that's where the attack is going to start from. So we are going to rotate our arm. So this green, blue, and red balls determine which axis we rotate the body part on. Okay, so if you see, this blue comes in front of the arm, kind of there, right? So if we drag the arm on the blue one, it's going to move it like along that line. All right, so we're going to just move it up to where it was last time with our dummy over there. Arms up like that. That's going to be the starting position of our attack. Now we're going to come down here to our keyframe editor, and let's go, what about like 1 second. So you can see the times here. So that's 0 seconds, 3 seconds, 6 seconds, 9 seconds, 12 seconds. Which means this one dot here is at time of 1 second. And at 1 second, we're going to make kind of a slash animation. So we want the arm to kind of, maybe come across the body. And if you click so if you notice, the balls don't move with the arm. They kind of stay static to the relative world space. You don't really have to know what that means, but that's what's happening. So if you want to move with the arm, click Control L on your keyboard, and when you rotate your arm and whatever, the balls will they'll move with your arm. So it's much easier to control the direction of your arm and whatnot if you click Control L. So after you click Control L, we're going to want to drag the red ball in this case. We're going to move it down like that. And now if we move our blue line here back to the beginning and we click the play button, you can kind of see that the guy is doing like a slash animation. Maybe that's a bit fast, so if we come up here and drag this white diamond to say 3 seconds, and now if we click play, it's a bit more obvious of what's happening. I'll drag it out a bit more to maybe 9 seconds, so you guys can see it a bit better. So you can kind of see how the arm is moving down. Oh, these are milliseconds, aren't they? Yeah, those are milliseconds, I think. So or actually, I don't even know what it is. But yeah, so it's not milliseconds. That's too long to be milliseconds. But you know, whatever. If let's just choose a time that looks good for what we want. This is a good starting position for our animation, or starting example animation. You guys can go way crazier with your animations if you want. But for the purpose of this video, to keep it nice and short for you guys, we're just going to go ahead with this short one. And you also want to make sure that before we save our animation to insert it into our code, see, because we're using an R15 dummy, there's an upper arm, lower arm, and hand. We also have to animate each of these body parts, because if we don't, the walking animation will override our attack animation and it will look absolutely ridiculous. So to add that, all you have to do is select the body part that you want to animate and just click. And you don't even have to drag it really. You just have to hold your mouse down, move your mouse slightly, and if you see here, it will add that body part. We're also going to want to add a keyframe for these body parts. These are called keyframes. These white diamonds are called keyframes. We're going to also want to add a keyframe for each of these body parts at the beginning of our animation. Right here and right here. So now our animation shouldn't look any different, but when we bring it into our code, or when we use code to play the animation on our character, the arm will follow this pattern the way we set it out to act. So the next step is going to be talking about animation priorities. So if you click these 3 dots here, it'll open up this menu, and you're going to see a Set Animation Priority tab. If you go in here, we're going to want to change this to Action, and that will make it so it overrides the walking animation or the idle animation or the jumping animation, and it will play our attack animation no matter what our character is doing, which is what we want, because we want the animation to play in all circumstances. So after you guys go ahead and do that, we're going to come up here to the 3 dots again, and we're going to click Export. And we're going to want to make sure that you click Create New and not update any of your old animations. And we're just going to name this Attack. The name does not matter at all, because the thing that we're interested in after you click Finish is this link right here. It says share your animations with friends. Just copy this link. So click it, and then click Control-C, and then click OK. So now that you have that copied, we're going to come over to our lightsaber in our hierarchy, and then we're going to insert an animation object, and in the properties menu, in the animation ID, Control-V to paste the link we just copied, and it will change it to this, and this is now our attack animation. We're going to name the animation to Attack. Now we are going to insert our script to play our attack animation. So we're going to click this plus icon, type in local script, and add in the local script. We can close out the animation editor. We're not going to need it anymore. So this is just a standard print function. We don't need that. We can delete that. So now we're going to create a script that will play our attack animation every time our player clicks the mouse. Or if you're on a phone or a tablet, when you tap the screen, or an Xbox, when you click the right trigger. So first thing first, we're going to create a new variable For our tool object, so local tool equals script.parent. And if you remember, we're doing script.parent because script is this script object and its parent is the lightsaber object. We're going to create another variable for our attack animation. So local, we're going to name the variable attack. And we're going to do tool. And remember, the stuff in Roblox doesn't load in right away. So to make sure that we are accounting for that, we have to do wait for child. And we named our attack animation attack. So we're going to write attack inside these quotation marks. So remember, tool is this lightsaber. And we're going to wait, because we wrote wait for child, we're going to wait for the attack animation to load in. Because if Roblox is laggy or slow, the attack might not be ready by the time the script is calling for it, which would break the script or throw an error. So we have to wait for it to appear. Now we're going to make it so when the player clicks their mouse or someone on their phone taps the screen and the Xbox player hits the right trigger, we're going to play our animation. And we're going to do this by doing tool.activated connect function. We're going to want to specify inside our function to play the animation. In order to do that, we're going to have to make another variable up here. Local player equals game.players.localPlayer. So what we did in this line, we created a new variable named player, and we're getting and it's set to the local player from game.players. Now keep in mind, because this is a local script, we can access local player inside of game.players, and it will return the person who is sitting behind the computer controlling the lightsaber. Not anybody else, not any other player in the game. It is the player that is controlling this lightsaber. So it lets us reference things very specific to the person controlling the lightsaber. In this case, we want to get their character and their humanoid. The character is the 3D object dummy that's inside the game that you can see. He's wearing the hats, he's wearing the clothes, he's holding the lightsaber in the game. And every character has a thing in it called the humanoid. And the humanoid is where we are going to load our animation by doing :load animation. And we're going to tell it to load our attack animation. And this attack is the variable that we gave for our attack animation there. And we're going to want to set this to local animation equals. And now to play the animation, all we have to do is animation play. Now if we come to our test, and if we click our lightsaber and we swing, we can see that it is playing our horrible slash animation. Now, for the purpose of this video, I'm not going to change it because I'm lazy, and you guys can spend the time making your beautiful animations, but in this video we are not going to be focusing on that at all. Now, some of you guys were asking me to show you how to make multiple animations. So you click once, does one slash, click again, does a second slash, and then creates a third slash. So I went ahead and created a second slash and a third slash animation already. So let's go ahead and create those next slash animations. So we're going to bring up our animation editor again. And this was me before the recording decided to die making another animation. So yeah, let's delete that. And boop. Okay, so yeah, the recording decided to die halfway through and had to restart, but whatever. So this is our second we're going to start our second animation. So we're going to make sure that it starts in the same spot as last time. We're going to come to about, what, 12? And I was thinking maybe so the first one comes across the body like that, right? Maybe the second one we want to come out to the side a bit, like out here. And I'll give it a nice rotate or something. Yeah. And we want to make sure that we're also setting these guys, which I definitely forgot to do in the last one before the recording crashed. And so another thing, I know I'm going to get questions about how to make the lightsaber in the right position with the animation. The lightsaber is always going to be straight from where this hand is. Just that's the way ROBLOX works. So lightsaber is going to extend up here. If you want to move that down, all you have to do is take your hand and rotate it down a bit. And now it's going to come out straight here, rather than up where it was before. So if we come to our set animation priority, set it to action, and then we're going to export this. Make sure you click create new, type in the animation name, and copy this ID, and then click OK. We're going to come back down to our lightsaber object. We're going to insert a new animation. We're going to name it Attack 2. Put in our ID. Come back to our code. We are going to add in the support for our multiple animations. So we're going to want to store when the last attack was. Let's pick a new variable named last attack, and we're going to set it to tick. And what tick does is it returns the number of seconds that have passed since January 1st, 1970. That information is completely irrelevant, but the thing that you have to remember is that if we call tick now and wait 10 seconds, the tick that's 10 seconds later will be 10 seconds later. So we can compare two different ticks and determine how much time has passed between one tick and the next one by subtracting them.
Hey, so this is actually me recording this a few days after recording that video, but I noticed that I did a horrible job explaining what the tick does, so let me show an example. So if we call tick now in the command line here, oops, I have to print it. So print tick, we're going to get this. This is the amount of seconds that has passed since January 1st, 1970. All right? If we call it now, these two numbers are different. So you noticed this ends in a, like all of these big numbers are the same because seconds don't go that fast, right? But these last two numbers, 40 and 30, that means we waited 10 seconds because it's a 10-second difference. This decimal is irrelevant in this. But you really like to see that we called this the second tick 10 seconds after the first one. So if I come back down to the command line and I add in await 10, and we call tick again, print tick. So if I run this code, so it prints this, it's going to wait 10 seconds automatically, and then it will print again. So it waited exactly 10 seconds. So it ends in 85, and now it's 95. So that's what we're doing to tick. We're trying to determine the amount of time difference between two different ticks.
So we're going to make an if statement, and we're going to check the current tick right now, and we're going to subtract the last attack tick. And if it's less than 1 second, we're going to play the new second attack animation, and if it's not, we're just going to drag in the old code here, and we're going to type in last attack equals tick, because we have to update it every time we attack. So here what we're doing is, I'll explain it all after we add in our second attack. So we're going to come up here, we're going to add in a new variable named attack number 2. I'm just going to copy this line, paste it in here, and put a 2 at the end. And we're going to copy that, put it in here, and just change attack to attack 2. But we're not going to update last attack because we don't want it to repeat the second animation every time we click it more than once, because we want to switch between the different two. So let me explain again. So we're going to take the tick now, compare it to the last tick, and remember the tick returns the number of seconds from 1970. So if we it's probably millions of seconds, but probably even more than that. But so say for example, today's tick at this exact time was 100. That's what it gives us, 100 seconds, even though that's not actually what it is. But just for example, it gives us 100 seconds. If last attack is bigger than 99, so maybe it's 99.5, which means it was 0.5 seconds ago. That's less than 1. So it's going to play the second attack animation. And if it's not less than 1, it's going to play the first one. So let's go into our code, or into test mode. Pull out our lightsaber. If we click once, it plays the first animation. If we wait a bit and click it again, it plays the first one again. But if we click twice fast, it plays the second animation. And that is how you add multiple animations to your lightsaber. So that's it for today's video. If you liked it, click the thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel, share it with your friends. If you need help, make sure you come over to our Discord server. Link is in the description. And come to the tutorial help channel, and either I or somebody else will help you. And if you want a free copy of the scripts and the models used in this tutorial, check the description out for a game link to the Letus Garden group. And you will find free access to these to the resources that I've provided for this video. And that is it for this video, and I'll see you guys all next week.